Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 158th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just to say that I rarely put 2v2 games on, but we played this game the other night, and I thought it was quite an interesting game, especially for new players, to see how attacking Greek cities can be if used correctly. Okay, the team I'm in today consists of IOW Bubo, who was brought to the Greek cities faction. It says it's quite unusual for Greek cities to be bought in a 2v2, so it'll be interesting to see how well they do, with of course they have the cavalry disadvantage there. And then we have myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. So there's our team there, but you wait till you see the other team. It's got the ingredients to be a great game. And here is that other team, and we have Brotherhood member Mystique. Mystique has called herself Lulu in this game, but I believe it is a Brotherhood member Mystique, and Mystique has bought the Rome SPQR faction. And then we have a Brotherhood member Killer B. He's called himself Crusader in this battle, but it is actually Brotherhood member Killer B, and he has bought the SPQR faction. So there's Mystique and Killer B, two very experienced and long-time players of RTW. Let's just pause the game for a second, have a look at the Greek cities ally here. As you can see, I think he's got about 15 Spartan units and 4 Cretan archers. So it'll be interesting to see how well this Greek cities army will do, bearing in mind that we will have a cavalry disadvantage in a 2v2. Should be an interesting battle for you to watch. At this very early stage of the battle, can you see how I keep my cavalry very close to my infantry? And of course that's because we have got cavalry disadvantage here. So what I want to do is try and keep my cavalry as close to my infantry as possible. But the big but is, has either of the two enemy generals bought archers? Because of course if they've bought archers, then obviously I couldn't keep my cavalry that close to my infantry because the archers would be killing them. But neither of them have bought archers, so I'm able to keep my cavalry close to my infantry. So if they're attacked by the enemy cavalry, then I can always throw infantry units in to help my cavalry units out. So I say that's a tactic, keep the cavalry close to the infantry here. So at this very early stage of the battle here, can you see how I advanced my army forward in an aggressive movement towards the enemy general in front of me here? Lots of pilot exchanging going on here. As you can see, it's actually almost raining pilots there onto each of our armies there. If you notice that the enemy have put their cavalry in behind us, I think I can count 7 units of enemy cavalry there. And if you notice, I've put my cavalry into close ordinary formation here, not wedge. At the moment they're close ordinary formation, but very close to my infantry there. So if they are attacked, we can always throw infantry units in to help there. As I say, there's 7 cavalry units, enemy cavalry units in behind us. And the new players watching this, this is one of the reasons I put this battle on, is because very often when you play with Greek cities, you can be very tempted to be defensive. They've got great specifications. The Spartans have got great specifications whether you attack or defend. But if you notice here, my ally is going for an attack. You notice how he run his first line into the enemy infantry there, and as he hit, he downed his spears and is now advancing slowly into those forward SPQR units there, making the most of the attacking specifications of those Spartans there. In this type of battle, I think where you've got Greek cities and the Rome ally up against 2 Romes, the Greek cities general needs to attack, needs to try and keep the enemy on the back foot. Because the Roman troops are so maneuverable, flexible and fast moving, plus with their cavalry, it can be a disadvantage to play defensive with Greek cities in this type of battle here. Right, can you see the enemy cavalry charging in onto our allies' archers there? If you notice there, the cavalry that I put in behind now, I can use to defend the my allies' archers there as the enemy cavalry come in. But once again, I don't want to move my cavalry too far away from my infantry, because I don't want to put my cavalry at a disadvantage against the enemy cavalry there. If you notice, the enemy are using their experience here to bring in individual cavalry units to attack the my allies' archer units there. So if you notice, I've moved my cavalry, tried to move my cavalry more central so I can support faster if needed there. Being able to position my cavalry there, facing backwards towards the enemy cavalry without fear of being killed by archers, is quite an advantage for us there. If you notice, at this stage of the battle, my allies throwing in even more Spartan units in an attacking, aggressive attack there over on our right flank. And you can see the Spartans are he's sending in the Spartan units there to attack, as I said, making most of their 2 hit points, which makes them very difficult to kill, and also making the most of their attacking specifications too, which is also very good. What I'm doing with my my Roman army at the moment is trying to be a supporting force, if you like, to my my allies' attacking tactics there. Trying to defend his archers with my cavalry at the rear, but also move my infantry about to support him as well there. If you notice here, the enemy SBQR cavalry charging in. I've managed to counter that with my cavalry, plus there's my allies' pike unit there as well, so forcing the enemy cavalry to move back there. I say it's very unusual for me to put on a 2v2 battle, but I just thought this was an interesting battle, and especially for new players who've just come to start playing RTW. You can see how effective the Greek cities can be at attacking. Yes, they are effective at defending as well, but if you use them in an attacking strategy, they can also be very, very effective as well. If you notice here, the SBQR generals bringing units round to the flank of the Greek cities general there. Remember what we've always said in other battle videos, if you're facing pike factions, the rear and flank are their most vulnerable spot, if you like, their soft spot. So if you can get units round to their rear or flank when you're facing pike units, that's the thing to do if you can. If you notice here that Killers put a lot of units in Testudo, remember that's a standard counter tactic that Roman generals use against advancing pike units. It slows the pike units down and can break up the attacking pikes battle line as well. There you go. Can you see Killer now using his years of experience to take units round the flank there? But those units now, you see, without any cavalry backup, are a little bit exposed, and maybe if my cavalry charged into those units there, I may be able to cause some casualties there. If you notice, I'm charging in now. There's my cavalry units hit there, causing casualties to the enemy infantry unit there. Not routing it, but causing a lot of casualties. Done the damage I wanted to, and back out. So there's 6 cavalry charge bonuses. Has just hit that infantry unit, and now I've done the damage I wanted to, pull back. You don't want to hang around fighting infantry because, as we said in other battle videos, infantry against cavalry in a long time fight, the infantry will usually win. As you can see here, I've moved my Scipio army right over to the flank as far as I can to help my my ally there by covering his flank. Let's just pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation. Over here on the right flank, you can see that Bubo with his Greek cities have attacked very aggressively, keeping the SBQR general on the back foot there because he's being so aggressive. If you notice here, my army, as I say, I'm using my army as more of a support army here. trying to contain the enemy general in front of me, but also sending units to support my my attacking ally there. But if you notice that Bubo now has got his Greek cities, Spartans, stretched all over the battlefield here. He's over on the left flank where I am, in the centre, and over on the right as well. Using those Spartans to great effect. Attack, attack, attack. Using those specifications and their 2 hit points very effectively here, as you can see. As I said earlier, this is the reason I put this game on is for new players who might have been tempted to use Greek cities in a defensive mode, but you can see how effective they are when you use them in an attacking mode too here. If you notice here, I'm putting my cavalry around to the right flank with a view to going into the back of those enemy SBQR infantry. Now what I want you to do is, I charge in, watch what my ally does with his pike units. Okay, can you see the 2 enemy cavalry units waiting to charge in behind me? And there's infantry units coming in behind me as well. The only way I've got is to go out through my enemy pikes. If you notice there, he puts his pikes up to allow my cavalry to go through his pikes. Remember, friendly pikes kill friendly cavalry. So if I'd have charged through that infantry with his pikes down, I would have lost a lot of cavalry. So he put his pikes up to allow my cavalry to come through. Nice little move there by my ally. So new players watching this, once again, remember, if you bring a pike faction, remember to lift your pikes if you see your allies' cavalry coming through either from behind or forward of your units. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see the enemy charging in there with the SBQR cavalry there. If you notice, I've got 2 infantry units facing them, as I was expecting them to charge in to try and kill my general. So there's an overall picture of the battlefield there. Being able to take my cavalry through my allies' pike units without suffering any casualties was like a really good escape plan for me there, bearing in mind that I had SBQR infantry and cavalry coming in behind me there. If you notice now, I've put my cavalry into wedge formation rather than a normal formation that I've had it in for most of the battlefield. And that's because I'm going to use that cavalry to start attacking now, and I want to use the wedge formation to get them more penetration rather than the ordinary cavalry formation there. As you can see, my allies, the Greek city Spartans, are still attacking, still being aggressive, starting to rout some of the enemy SBQR Roman infantry there. I'm very sorry, I'm just getting over a nasty cold, so sorry about the coughing. If you notice, I'm now moving my cavalry out to the right flank there, as I said earlier, in wedge formation, looking for the more penetration with that wedge formation when I charge into the enemy cavalry. There, if you notice, I'm charging them in now, and there's that 6 units of cavalry hit, and bang, as that cavalry hits her. So if you notice, there's a good combination of attacking with the Spartans and with my cavalry. If you notice, there's a couple of SBQR cavalry units coming in behind us. Charging it straight into the back of my one of my Scipii infantry units there that was engaged. Nice little move there by the SBQR cavalry general there. If you notice there, I'm charging my Scipii cavalry in there. Charged them in, done a bit of damage, and then pulled them back. Remember what we've seen in other battle videos, what we do with cavalry: charge in, hit, do as much damage as we can, get the full cavalry charge bonus, and then pull back. As you can see here, Bubo's still attacking with his Spartans there, and as I say, I'm still using my my units as support units, but also becoming more aggressive with my units as well now. I tended to use my my infantry as support units for my for Bubo's Spartans, and I'm using my cavalry as my attack. So it's kind of like using my infantry as a shield and my cavalry as a sword, attacking sword. But also using my cavalry, I've got to remember that if Bubo is engaged facing the enemy infantry, if he raises his pikes, then he's going to lose a lot of men. So when I'm charging my cavalry, I have to be careful that if I charged in where they was going there, they would have charged through his pike units, probably with his pikes down, because he didn't want to lose so many troops. So I would have probably lost a lot of cavalry there. So I stopped the attack before I got anywhere near my allies' pike units there. So what I've got to do with my cavalry now, where I hit, I'm going to try and hit where there are no pike units. You notice my 6 cavalry going in, and bang as they hit. If you notice there, I've charged in, did the damage that I wanted to, and now we're bringing the cavalry back out. As you can see now, I'm bringing infantry in from the rear of the engaged SBQR infantry, and I'm charging my cavalry in through the front door. So I would think that that SBQR infantry would start to rout, and there you go. You can see that that most of the SBQR forces are starting to rout there.
And this day is clearly our victory.
So as I said, new players watching this, can you see how effective Greek cities can be if they're used in an offensive manner? Right, first thing I'd like to say, it's really well played to everybody in the game. I thought, as I said, Bubo there, if you look at the kills that he's got, extremely good kills of Greek cities, and that's what you can do if you use them in an attacking manner. If you notice, my kills are not very good, but I was just kind of, as I said, being a support ally really, sending infantry where they were needed, and just striking with my cavalry now and again. I thought Killer and Mist played very well there, but going up against an aggressive Greek cities general, using those Spartans as effectively as he did, I think anybody facing that kind of aggression would find it difficult to counter that. But I thought they did very well considering the circumstances there. So really well played to both Killer and Mist there. And just like to say, new players watching this, as I said earlier, it's a good example of how Greek cities can be used. Just like to say, it's Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle, and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.